Hello, hello. Welcome to day 4 of our Masterclass. Today we're going to talk about how our value is different than our net worth, and our self-worth needs to be independent from our net worth, and so on. I hope you understand what I mean. Okay, and I'm going to start by illustrating the point with 2 stories. First off, I'm going to bring you down a little bit, then we're going to go up. But I was in a situation once where I was working around people that really didn't like me all that much. And after several months, it was taking its toll. And I remember my dad at one point saying, he's a very wise man, okay? For those of you that know my father, George, and if you don't, this should give you some insight. But he said, Dale, you really need to separate your self-worth. You need to have your own self-worth. You need to know your own value and not let these other people dictate your value. Because I was in this really hard situation. They just didn't like me. They didn't like my work. They didn't think I added a lot of value. And I was kind of bummed out about it. And it was really on top of mind. I'm like, I was used to being the guy that people like. And there was this whole group of people that didn't like me. And it was really hard for me. But when he shared that with me, I kind of went on this journey over the next several weeks. Maybe it took a couple months to realize that that I was okay and to have my own self-worth. Okay, so another example of this was in 2006. I rode from Lisbon we rode from Amsterdam to Lisbon, Portugal. 3,500 miles, and we were bike touring. We camped and it was amazing. Best trip ever. If you're in a situation to do something like that and you want tips, hit me up. I will help you plan your trip. I'll even loan you some panniers or something, okay? Let me know. I want to help you do it because it was a life-changing experience. So I was on this trip, and when you're biking, if you can get behind a big vehicle that is going 20 to 25, 30 miles an hour, and if you can catch up and get in its draft, or in its wind pocket, whatever. When something moves fast, there's like this little vacuum that it creates behind it. I obviously did not go to school for anything all that scientific with how I'm describing things. Okay, but I would try to catch these vehicles and get in that wind pocket so I could draft off of the big vehicles. And I would try all the time and fail. Okay, so was I a failure? Until a road in Spain, I had failed, but I had success. We were in Spain, the very top of Spain, I believe near Zaragoza or something. We were in Spain, and there was this tractor that came passing by, and my friends that I was riding with had been used to just seeing me always sprint off and try to catch it and basically get dropped and never catch it. But this time, as it went by, my friends just sat back, and I stood up in my seat, and I just and raced towards it, and I got in its draft, and I caught on to that truck and eventually had to get off because I ditched my friends. But I had it pull me for nearly 10 miles at its 25-mile-an-hour clip. It was amazing. So the question is, did I become a winner the minute I caught onto that truck? Or was I always a winner because I was trying? And the point that I really want to illustrate is we can't control our outcome, we can't control the results, but we can control our work ethic and what we do, our efforts. So it can be discouraging to keep trying and have bad efforts, but you constantly have to remind yourself that it is really just about how hard you're trying and the things that you're doing to try to win. So imagine, and this is an example that I like to share with the business owners I coach, imagine that you're a big wave surfer and you go to the beach and there are no waves. Does that mean that you're a crummy surfer? Or there are bad waves? Does it mean you're a crummy surfer? No, it doesn't. It means that, and with waves, the reason I like the wave analogy is when there's a really big wave, only the really good surfers are going to be able to ride it and get the most out of it. When there's a small wave, the really good surfers are going to be able to ride it and get the most out of it too. And on some perfect waves, even people that aren't that good are going to be able to ride it and look good on that. But if you want to be good over time, all the time, you need to be an amazing surfer, which means it's not just relying on finding and spotting the perfect wave. There's a little bit to that, but it's having the right fitness levels. It's learning how to look at weather patterns to go and find the right breaks, learning the different beaches. There's so much that goes into it. But at the end of the day, you cannot control it. So as we go through our lives, in our businesses or in our jobs or whatever, the only thing that we can control is how hard we try and the different skills that we put together. But we can't force a big wave just at will. We have to be ready. So because I was operating with this urgency of chase every truck, the right truck came along, and because I was doing that, I found the truck. And that's how it has been in all of my success to this point with Bike Wagon and finding lots of deals specifically. I found all sorts of deals that other people that weren't always looking in the hunt didn't find. So that's the idea, is that you focus on your efforts and you just trust that the results will come someday. So as I'm getting going in this entrepreneurship thing, and we're looking to buy a business, we bought a company 6 months. Well, it's been a year and a half ago. I'm doing several business things that aren't going that well. Like I'm just getting started again. As I start to do this, I really have to ignore my current results and realize that no, I trust the process. I wake up every day at 4:30. I do my hour of personal time. I plan every single week. I do all of these different things that I've agreed that are going to make me win long term. In a couple days, we're going to go through a goal setting model where we start really high and get specific, and we're going to talk about specific things that you can do to make sure that they're going to take you to the end destination you want to go to. But first, we need to talk about the big picture and then get more specific. So that's what you've got coming. I'm really excited about doing that. But at the end of the day, how happy will you feel if you've got a plan and just by sticking to it, independent of the results, independent of winning today, just by sticking to your plan and doing your thing, that you can feel content. I talk about your value and your worth being independent from your net worth. We're who we are, and we're valuable. Even if we don't make any money, even if we have crappy jobs or no jobs, we're still valuable human beings. And that sort of value you can't really mess with. That value is set. We have fixed value. We want to make the most out of what we have, and we can do that through our efforts and really just effort and doing our best. All right, so another thing about value and valuing ourselves is if we ever have to manage other people, and man, I cannot tell you, man or a woman, I can't tell you how many times I've seen managers managing other people that are ruining the lives of all those that they manage because they're insecure and they don't value themselves. So they manage from a place of insecurity and not valuing the people under them. It's really important that we go through this process to learn to value ourselves, and that our value is not set on if we're working with somebody better than us, or that somebody, that we want to make sure that we feel better or more qualified or whatever than the people around us. We don't want to do that. You're going to be such a better manager and leader and influencer of people if you can just get clear about your own value and your own worth, because then you can truly value others. I love the first and great commandment is to love God as thyself, and then to love others, right? Or to love God and then to love others as thyself. So that's the idea. We have to love. We have to love God. We have to love ourselves in order to love others. We can't do it another way. So also, we can't allow others to affect our happiness. So I'm one of 9 kids, and when I was growing up, my brothers and I, we teased each other a lot. And we got to the point where with the younger kids, we could do a simple hand gesture. This, in our family, was the hand gesture. This meant that you liked your crush, okay? And no 8-year-old wants to be told that he likes his crush, okay? Even though it's a crush. Or all of the kids had like another person that we picked out. Like Bruce, it was Rachel. It's like, you like Rachel. and then we would fight, and then everyone would fight. Don't be like that. Do not allow other people to affect your happiness just by simple things like that. We're good, we're valuable, we feel great about ourselves, we know our worth, and we're not going to be affected by little things like that. All right, so a movie that I recently discovered with my kids, and I'm glad they don't understand a lot of the innuendos, but it's the Pink Panther. And so there's a guy named Ponton who has to work with the other detective. And Ponton is a very capable, very experienced detective, and he has to work with a complete idiot. But he's so good at just seeing the value in this detective, even though he was bad at most things. He was good at not having contempt towards him, even though the guy, Ponton, could have been very belligerent, and he could have put down the other guy to make himself feel better or look good. I want to show you this little clip that just kind of highlights that. And this guy, he was just professional and didn't let the detective make him feel bad at all.
I am going to be frank. Since you are only a detective second class, your senses may not be as sharp as my own. And as I do not want a partner who makes me duller, I have come up with a plan to keep you as sharp as possible.
And what is that?
Intermittently and without warning, I will attack you whenever and wherever it is least expected. In this way, I will keep you vigilant and alert. Agreed?
Yes. Good one. Thank you.
All right, so the Pink Panther detective is a complete idiot, and he's just so funny. But Ponton, he's just very respectful, and hey, great, he's fine, and he does his thing, and that's how we want to be. We want to be, even when we have to work with people that are maybe kind of hard to work with, we just want to be, we value ourselves, and we're going to look past 90% of the craziness, and everyone has some genius in them. We want to focus on their genius. That's what we want to do. So there you go. That's the lesson for today. The homework for today is to make a list. We're making lots of lists of people, but I think that's one of the best ways that we can learn how to kind of embody what we want to embody. So who are the people that you know that, regardless of circumstance, always have a high level of self-worth? So jot down those names, and tomorrow we're going to talk about finding your genius zone. I'm really excited about it, and this kind of helps build on that, our value, who we're spending time with, and our core values and all that. We're going to identify our genius zone, which is going to help us to better identify what types of situations that we really thrive in, so we can find more of them. So thanks again for following along, and I will see you tomorrow.